Well, many thanks, Mark. Quite an incisive one there, looking at elections from 1979. And you also recall that we had to move from, multi-party system. And when you talked about the 1993 elections, we came, that is after a 10-year period of an unbroken military rule in the country, we came to two-party system. I recall the NRC and the SDP.
Yeah.
So when you talk about figures and all of those anomalies that went with that particular election, Nigerians will understand at that point in time. But again, 1999 was the turning point. Now we have 16 years of an unbroken run in our democratic process. Nigerians are expectant concerning this particular process, and that is why the electoral umpire, well, they also have a history, Mark. Recall that over the years we had the FEDECO, we have the NEC, and the names keep changing. This is where I had to bring Fasi Yusuf to help us on, because, Mark, thank you so very much. You can come join us later now on this big set now. For Dr. Fasi Yusuf now, looking at the figures which Mark has reeled out, it will show that Nigerians are getting more aware. Even though it gets to a point where we get to see a dip in the figure and a dip also in the analysis of these people who would ordinarily become eligible voters. But for 2015 elections, the story that is making the difference with the 1999 elections, recall that then we have this apathy in 1999. So many people didn't believe it was going to work, because way into that particular election, at a point in time in our history, we had what we want to call a bit of democracy, spiced with military governance, where we had a military head of state with some administrators. We had the National Assembly. I think that occurred during the President, General Babangida's time. Tell us more on this figure and the apathy we recorded in 1999 and how this whole thing has changed. You talked about the dynamism of the social media, which has played a key role in all of this.
Well, that aside, if you look into the historical dimension to the whole thing, remember that the military president Babangida dribbled us, and there were several, I repeat, of transition program
That were all broken.
that were all broken. Multi-party system, zero-party system, now two-party system that had the late Abiola and Tafa. Was it Tufa?
Bashir Tofa.
Bashir Tufa contesting, and the results were inconclusive. At that point in time, people were disillusioned. At that point in time, people were beginning not to have faith in the system, and people thought there'd be no end in sight, unless perhaps there was going to be a miracle. Thank God, the miracle that we were expecting in terms of a democratic change, we brought in an interim government. And from there, we had another military government that was planted to supplant the interim national government. So because Shonekon was forced to resign. So we had that for about 5 years. Abubakar came in by divine intervention, and he was in a hurry to go. And people thought that was impossible, because he said he was just going to spend less than a year. And people thought it was not possible.
No one believed.
Somebody was there for 10 years, or 8, for 8 years. He could not do anything. How are you going to do it? And that was how some people took advantage of what others thought was impossible, and they came on board. So ever since, and then because we've had, by May 29, we've having 16 years of unbroken democracy. And that in itself is enough to show any doubting Thomas that yes, democracy has come to stay. And don't forget that the international community, the reality on ground now is that military administration is no longer fashionable. It's unacceptable. It's now evil. It's despicable in the world of the world. So nobody will dare it any longer. And people will tell you, like Clinton said, that look, with democracy, things are slow in happening. But without democracy, nothing is sustainable. So we are beginning to believe in ourselves coupled with the fact that, look, what we're having now, people have always advocated that, look, the greatest thing we can have in this country is to have a two-party structure, a formidable two-party structure that you can never predict where the pendulum will swing to.
And not deliberately created by the government or anyone.
No. It evolved. And that's what we're having. There's still some pockets of some this thing. Like even in Britain today, there are other political parties, but there are two dominant political parties. Yes, in America, you have two dominant political parties, but you also have independent candidates where people are free to contest, even up to the presidential election.
I believe that's been worked into the Constitution now.
Yes, it's, if assented to. I bet the way they're going about it, they're saying that the president will not have the power to assent to any bill passed by the National Assembly. And I think the doctrine of separation of power is not being made to play there. So I think that's another thing. If I talk about law, but now we're talking about...
But let me quickly let out
yes.
know that you're also a lawyer.
Yes.
Apart from being a communication consultant, you're
yes.
also a lawyer, so you
yes.
can also put that cap on and
yes.
tell us more on,
yes.
on the legal aspect.
So the doctrine of separation of power, of course, you know there are three tiers of government. And we in the media, we represent the fourth estate of the realm as propounded by Thomas Jefferson. But as it is, the awareness being created and the need for people to hold themselves accountable to what happens to them, and the need to move the nation forward has galvanized the people to really know that, look, democracy has come to stay and that there's no option to democracy.
Well, I'll come back to you because I see Malkwe is itchy to ask you her question.